which are either processed or unprocessed. And this data can be either structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. We're all now living in a digital world wherein within a single click, you can book the tickets like train tickets, railway tickets, movie tickets, and you can do all the transactions from premiums, paying the premiums, and doing the online transactions, retail transactions, everything within a single click. And this single click from that mobile or laptop or any other electronic device is generating a lot of machine generated data. This machine generated data is very, very helpful to analyze the business, to get some beautiful insights from the data that we have been generated. As we are now living in a digital world, every second is data and every minute is data, right? So earlier also we have data, and now also we listen a lot. We also we see so much of data, but the word big data differentiates everything. Any data which is beyond the storage and processing capacity of a single centralized server, and which satisfies three V's. What are those three V's? Volume, velocity, and variety can be treated as big data. Can be treated as big data. Okay. Any data which is beyond the storage and processing capacity of a single centralized server and which satisfies three V's can be treated as big data. Now this big data, wherein all the three V's, volume, velocity, and variety, and again veracity is also there, should be stored and processed. Normal relational database management systems are unable to process such a huge volumes of data as their storage capacity is restricted. And again, the data that an RDBMS machine can store is a structured records only, not they cannot have the flexibility of storing semi-structured or unstructured data. RDBMS servers like MySQL, SQL, Oracle, Greenplum, Postgres can store only structured data, right? Now, there is a need, or there should be a storage space wherein you can store such a huge volumes of data generated at a volumes coming at very speed volumes, right? Amazon, Flipkart, eBay, BSE Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, a flying aircraft from one location to another location is generating terabytes of data per single hour. So where do all this data is going to be stored and how it is to be processed is the main concern. So to solve all these big data problems, we have a new framework called Hadoop. Hadoop is like an open source software framework completely written in Java to handle big data. Whenever we are saying big data means, you should always remember about three V's: volume, velocity, and variety. Okay, volume,
Recording in
storage,
progress.
terabytes, exabytes, and so on. So velocity, the speed at which the data is being generated. Variety, all the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Okay. Now, do you guys have any experience on Linux commands?
Sir, basic commands I have knowledge.
You have basic commands, right?
Yes,
Okay, fine.
some.
Fine. Now, others, what about others? Basic commands. Okay. Database related. Please mute, guys. Please mute. Others, please mute. Azim, Nilesh.
So, no,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
don't know about any about Linux.
Linux. So little bit of Linux, right? So I'll be starting the course in such a way that we will be first installing the Ubuntu OS, okay, on our local laptop using VM, or there is the flexibility of using cloud service providers like Amazon Web Services or Azure portals. So I will be helping you in learning cloud technologies as well with respect to, in addition to big data Hadoop as well. Now companies are looking for big data developers with sound knowledge on cloud as well. Okay, so coming back to Hadoop, Hadoop is an open source software framework completely written in Java to handle big data. Hadoop is a open source software framework completely written in Java to handle big data. So, open source software framework. What is this open source software framework?
It's a free license free.
License free means wherein you can download from internet without any license, or you can download it for free. So it's an open source framework which is completely written in Java. So whenever we are starting Java means there will be, sorry, whenever we are starting Hadoop means there should be some Java programs running in the background. So that Java programs are known as daemons. The software programs that are running in the background are known as daemons. And we have name node, secondary name node, job tracker, data node, task tracker. Okay,
Sir, I'm
five
not
daemons.
able to see the screen. The screen is not visible.
Who?
It's Sumit.
Sumit. Others, Jitendra, for you, Azim. Can you see my
Yes, I have visible. I have visible.
Nilesh?
Yes, sir. I see that.
Okay. So once that there is some issue from your side only, I guess. Okay. Let me stop and reshare again. Now, can you see my screen now? Yeah. These are known as Hadoop 1.x daemons. Now, we will start our journey with Hadoop 1.x, which is known as MRV1, Classic Map Reduce, Hadoop 2.x, MRV2, Map Reduce version 2, and then popularly known as Yarn, and Hadoop 3.x. Okay. So we'll be starting our journey with Hadoop 1.x, Hadoop 2.x, and Hadoop 3.x. Okay. Now, these are all the Hadoop 1.x daemons. What we call it as MRV1 daemons, Hadoop 1.x daemons. Now, name node, secondary name node, resource manager, data node, and node manager. These are Hadoop 2.x are Yarn daemons. Yarn daemons. These are Yarn daemons. Okay. Or Hadoop 2.x daemons. So Hadoop is basically known as a master slave architecture. What is this master slave architecture? Out of these 5 daemons, 3 are known as masters. What are those? Name node, secondary name node, and job tracker in 1.x, or resource manager in 2.x are known as masters, and slaves or workers. What are these? Data node and task tracker or node manager. These are known as slaves. Hadoop is a master slave architecture. Okay, masters and slaves. Masters takes the request and give to the slaves, and slaves start storing or processing the data. Till now, are we clear, or any questions?
Clear,
No,
sir.
sir. It's clear.
Now, Whenever you're installing Hadoop, it comes with two important components. One is storage and the other one is processing. Storage part of Hadoop is known as HDFS, which means Hadoop Distributed File System. Hadoop Distributed File System, and processing part, MapReduce, MapReduce. Okay, so storage part comes under is the storage part. Storage part is HDFS file system, and then this is known as processing part is known as MapReduce. Okay, the beauty of Hadoop is it can store gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, and zettabytes of data. And again, in the Hadoop distributed file system, we have a concept called blocks. The input data that is submitted to Hadoop cluster or whatever data that we want to store in Hadoop cluster will be divided into smallest units of chunks called blocks. And each block is of size either 64 MB or 128 MB. Either 64 MB or 128 MB. Okay. 64 MB or 128 MB. Okay, once the data is stored across multiple data nodes, because as we are saying this, the file system is distributed in the sense the data is not stored under a single centralized server. The data is stored across a group of machines. Now, do you know what is a cluster? What is the cluster? Any idea? What's a cluster? Jitendra, Sumit? Cluster? What's a cluster? Cluster is a group of machines that are connected to a dedicated network. Okay, this is known as cluster. So basically in Hadoop, we have a group of machines that are interconnected to a dedicated network. Like say, for example, as I told you, we have master daemons, right? Name node should be running on a separate machine. Secondary name node should be running on a separate host. Yarn resource manager should be running on a separate host. And then we have slave worker nodes, right? So you can have the worker nodes, any number of worker nodes. Okay. Name node, secondary name node, resource manager, data node 1 or worker node 1. And then here we have data node 3, data node 4, and then so this is what we called as 7-node cluster. When I'm saying a node means servers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7-node Hadoop cluster. Out of which 3 master nodes and 4 slave nodes. Okay. Everybody, are we clear?
Sir, node means server or
Server or host.
okay, server or host.
Yeah. Suppose I have taken 5 laptops. I can call it as 5 nodes. I have taken 5 servers, 5 nodes. Okay.
Okay. Clear.
Now, when it comes to storage, name node and data nodes work together. And when it comes to processing, job tracker and task tracker work together. Job tracker, or what we say is resource manager and node manager. Who is that? Sumit, right? Where are you, Sumit? Yeah, you can speak now. Sumit, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please. What's your question?
Nothing, sir. I just wanted to unmute myself.
Uh-huh. So, do you have any knowledge on DBS database side or Linux side?
No, sir. I have actually seen the video of Hadoop in YouTube. So I have basic idea of master node and slave nodes. What are master nodes and what are slave nodes?
Okay, wonderful. So yesterday I asked you, if you joined yesterday, I have asked you to download 2 links. How
Yeah,
many
that
you have
one is
downloaded?
VMware and one another one is Ubuntu. I have installed Ubuntu in my
Okay, wonderful.
system.
Others, Nilesh, have you downloaded that?
No, sir. Today I'll try and download.
Today you will try. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Others, Jitendra, Aparna? Okay, you are connecting to mobile. Okay. Now say for example, can anyone share their screen who has downloaded the VMware and Ubuntu and have not installed? For example, Nilesh, can you please share your screen?
Sir, currently I'm logging with my mobile. That's why.
Okay, okay, mobile now. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Azim, what about you and
No, sir, I didn't install. I will
you have
install
not?
today, sir.
You will install. That's what I'm saying. Can you please? You are connected with laptop or mobile?
So mobile, sir.
Okay, great. Aparna, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So,
Now,
did
these
you
are the
get any
questions
chance?
you are going to receive as the freshers
Yeah.
in your interviews. And this will be very initial
Hello.
questions. So once you start giving the angular
Someone is talking. Someone is talking.
questions in your
Hey,
uh,
someone is talking, guys. Who's that? Yeah. So, Aparna, I'm asking you, did you get any chance to download the VMware and Ubuntu softwares?
what kind of questions?
No, sir.
So that
No,
in that way
actually.
you guys will be ready
You're
to
connected with laptop?
No, I'm using phone.
question
Phone
and
only. Okay. Please mute. Please mute.
interview questions.
Okay.
Now, if you
Fine. Now, say for example, I have already installed VMware. So this is the VMware, how it looks like. So we'll be creating a new virtual machine. Basically, I asked you to download the VMware .exe file, right? So as per your 64-bit, okay, on Windows or 32-bit, most probably everyone is now on 64-bit only, right? So you can download that 64-bit .exe file, and then you can start installing the VMs. I mean VMware, Oracle VirtualBox, or VMware Player on your machine. Just by right click, enter. It will not take not more than 2 minutes to install VMware. Once it is installed, it will ask your email. Just give your email, and then it will open to this tab. Once this is done, you need to create a new virtual machine that I will be telling you. I have installed Hadoop here. Now this is my user ID. Okay, this is how my terminal looks like in Ubuntu. So basically right click, open terminal. In order to increase the font size, simply, okay, now what are all the Java process services running? Give JPS. If I want to log into root user, now I'm into root. Now if I want to log into another user, okay, if I want to check my Hadoop cluster is running or not, JPS, and then start hyphen dfs.sh. Now start hyphen yarn.sh. These are the commands you need to know. So JPS. So this is our Hadoop cluster looks like. I told you, right? Name node, secondary name node, resource manager, node manager, data node. We have web UI links as well. Localhost 50070 is, sorry, we have a web UI port numbers. So if you see this terminal, Hadoop space version, I have installed Hadoop 3.1. So for 3.1, the port number is different, 9876. Localhost 9870 I'll take. Now here you see overview, localhost 9000 active. This is the total Hadoop file system. You can do utilities, browse the file system, and here you can browse the file system over web UI. Just you can give a forward slash and then give a go button. Give a go button. Okay, there is nothing I have created. For example, if I want to create any new directory, enter. If I want to list my file system Hadoop fs-ls, I'll give forward slash. Forward slash means 3 point entry point of my file system. Now Hadoop fs hyphen mkdir, for example, test 123. It is saying no. For example, I'll give /. Okay, it has been created. For example, remove this dot and then just give test. A new directories, two directories will be created. One is .test123 and /test. If I go here and then give a / and then now go, I can see here, test directory and test123. D directory, owner is SD user, last modified today's date, replication block size. So we have a very important concepts called replications in replications means copies, second or third copies, the same similar copies stored in another nodes. In order to achieve fault tolerance and high availability of data, Hadoop uses a concept called replication. And again, I told you block size, right? Each block size can be 128 MB. It is a default value. You can customize it to 256 or 612, anything you can customize, but default value is 128 MB, wherein you can achieve parallelism. Once this is done, then you can go to cd/user local Hadoop share. In that there is a Hadoop. Now you can see there is cd map reduce. And then here, these are all examples, right? For example, if I do Hadoop space jar, and then suppose if I've taken right click, copy, right click, paste, enter. These are all the default programs that comes with the framework. Aggregate word count, aggregate word history. Okay. And then in order to check whether our cluster is running smoothly or not, we will try this PyJob, a map reduce program that estimates pi using a fuzzy Monte Carlo method. So jar space pi. Now it is asking n maps and n samples. For example, I give 2 maps and 2 samples. Now this will run a map reduce job. And if the job is successful, you can say that, okay, your resource management part is also working fine. Means your cluster is working, storage part is fine, and processing part is also fine. Now your job is slowly running. Let's see. You can check here the resource manager web UI as well. I have given very small RAM, so that could cause this machine to run slow. Once you are working with huge RAMs like 128 gig RAM, 64 gig RAMs in real-time environment, you can process the data in very less time. Okay. So let me show you this. So processing part, we have a map reduce, and from 2.x onwards, we have a YARN resource manager to take care of all this resource management and everything, right? Now on top of this storage part and processing part, what we do is Hadoop ecosystem. Hadoop ecosystem. What is this Hadoop ecosystem? Scoop, SQL plus, Hadoop, HAVE Hive, Pig, Zookeeper, and then Kafka, Spark, NoSQL databases, very important. HBase and MongoDB. These are the important ecosystems of Hadoop that we will be learning. Apart from this, the cloud technologies we will touch is AWS, Amazon Web Services, Azure. In Azure, we can do Azure Databricks, where we will be running some PySpark scripts. Okay, this is very useful for our real-time environment as well. Companies are now looking for big data engineers or big data developers who are having some sound knowledge on Hadoop framework, and then who can analyze their data using PySpark, Azure Databricks. Okay, we have Databricks from AWS as well. So I will train you in such a way that what are all the latest technologies that are emerging in the market. I'll be giving you a complete bird's view and again in-depth knowledge of the services with hands-on examples. Okay, when it comes to Scoop, we have Scoop installation, how Scoop uses to connect to MySQL, and then how the tables in MySQL are populated, how Scoop uses a JDBC connectivity to connect to MySQL, and then import the data by converting the metadata into Java classes and running a MapReduce program to achieve parallelism, and how the table has been stored into the HDFS, everything we'll be discussing. Under Scoop import, we have incremental import, importing to a specified columns, importing with a delimiter, importing the table with a specific file format, everything we'll be discussing. After Scoop import, there is Scoop export, means vice versa. From HDFS to MySQL, loading the data we will be discussing. Once Scoop is done, then we will move into the very important concept of Hadoop ecosystem called Hive. Hive is like a data warehouse which is used to install, which is installed on top of HDFS for ad hoc querying and reporting purposes. So whenever you're installing or want to analyze huge volumes of data over structured format, then you will be going with Hive HQL, Hive query language. Okay, this Hive query language, we'll be discussing about the Hive server architecture, what are the important components of Hive, and then creating the tables as per Hive delimiters, and loading the data. Like you can load the data using insert command, you can load the data using load letter local input if your file is in the local file system. If your data is in the HDFS, you can use the command load data in path and table to table loading. Once loading is done, then we will be moving to important concept called external and internal tables. So what's an internal table? What's an external table in Hive? What happens if an internal table is dropped, and what happens an external table is dropped, and the differences between internal and external will be discussing, followed by partitioning, very important concept in Hadoop, Hive, partitioning and bucketing, how you organize the data in a simple manner, how HDFS creates directories as separate partitions for depending upon the cardinality of a specific column, and again bucketing, reorganizing the data into files. Okay, this is known as reorganizing the data into files. Okay, this is called uh, part bucketing. So we need to understand what is partitioning and what is bucketing. Well, we need to understand what is partitioning and what is bucketing here. Okay, so I'll be helping you to get a clear understanding of Hive bucketing, partitioning, and all the Hive user functions, and then Hive joins, followed by Pig, data transformation language. What are the important operators in Pig? Once this Hive scoop and Pig is done, we will be doing a small project, detailed data analysis project, followed by Spark and Kafka, right? So this is how we will learn the entire Hadoop ecosystem. Then the last part of the Hadoop curriculum is NoSQL databases like MongoDB and HBase. What is MongoDB? Document-oriented database, why it was invented, and what are the uses of MongoDB, and what is HBase, Hadoop database, and how Hadoop uses HBase to store its data and retrieve the data. We will be explaining you in a more clear manner. After that, resume preparation, and then interview tips I'll be telling you, so that you can see minimum 2 to 3 years experience in big data Hadoop. The class every day starts at 8 a.m. and be closing at 9 a.m. 1 hour, Monday to Friday. Saturday also, depending upon your availability, I'll be taking the classes. Okay, every day you need to practice the questions or the comments that we discuss in our class regularly. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'm very happy to help you and clear your doubts. Okay, any number of times, right? So please mute and please mute. Hello, please mute. Please mute. Right. So please follow with our management regarding the course curriculum and the other fee structure details. We'll be having the next class on Monday. Okay, same time 8 a.m. Azim, Jitendra, Nilesh.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Sir, onwards Monday it's regular classes or demo classes?
Regular classes.
Regular classes, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
From Monday we'll have the so keep booking your slot. Okay, so that the links and everything will be changed. Just check with your Naresh IT management team to get your process done. Okay.
Okay, definitely.
Okay.
Sir, we will cover Linux or not?
Yes, I will cover Linux. Yeah.
Okay.
Clear into everybody? Yeah.
Sir,
Thank you.
which language we are going to use in MapReduce?
Java.
Okay.
Sir, we'll cover the basic Oracle and SQL commands or all this.
MySQL commands I'll cover.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Sir, can we use Python in MapReduce?
Yes, we can use Python. We can use
Okay.
Python is like Java you can use. Okay, not Python, because MapReduce programs are normally written in Java. So PySpark we can write in Python only. We can write the Spark programs in Python.
So my background is not a IT, so Java I have to learn, or you will teach us
Java.
basic language instead of Java.
Java means you need to know minimum knowledge. I cannot say Java everything, right? Because Java is ocean. If I start explaining Java, it will take
just basic knowledge.
the
Sir.
basic knowledge. What is the function? What is the method and everything? Okay, I'll tell you.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, Python is required or
Python you need to learn, and I'll be telling you basic like Python variables, how to install Anaconda and access the Python Jupyter notebooks, and then write the Python, how to access the Python, like what are variables, structures, arrays, and everything, to get some basic knowledge on Python. Okay.
Okay, because I have the knowledge of Java and all these things. But I
No, you
don't-
can easily cope up with that. Not a problem.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Then- Okay.
Wonderful. And okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for your cooperation, and I appreciate it. See you on Monday. Right.
Definitely,
Please
sir.
follow up with management
there.
regarding your slots. Right. Thank you.